right, let's go ahead and call the meeting to order. Let's start with the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let the minutes reflect that all board members are present. I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Dr. McNeil?
Yes.
Ms. McAdams?
Yes.
Ms. Romerman?
Yes.
Mr. Reyes?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Consent agenda. All of the following items, those items of a routine nature normally approved at board meetings, will be approved by one vote unless any board member desires to have a separate vote on any or all of these items. The consent agenda consists of the discussion, consideration, and action on the following items. It's items A through R. So don't need to rush through these. We got 44 items. If there's any that you'd like, any discussion? And if not, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Move for approval.
Second.
Mr. Reyes?
Yes.
Dr. McNeil?
Yes.
Ms. McAdams?
Yes.
Ms. Romerman?
Yes.
The chair votes yes. Information reports. Anything from USPA? UCTA report. Ms. Gunter?
President Kinnear, Dr. Hartzler, members of the board. Tuesday, we wrapped up negotiations with members of the cabinet. We had excellent discussions about morale and climate and how hard the last few years have been on teachers and the whole district. And we left feeling very encouraged and supported from that meeting. Jay sent the email out today to have ratifications to our contract voted on, so that was sent out today. We also had a very successful new teacher luncheon and were able to recruit a significant amount of new members for UCTA. And we're looking forward to a great school year.
Very good, thank you. Hearings and correspondence. Any communications? Anyone signed up to speak regarding the agenda? Very good. Moving on to the business agenda. Under instruction, consider and take action on approval of the 2022-2023 school calendar based on the 1,080-hour requirement. Dr. Hartzler.
Thank you, President Kinnear, board members. This is something, as you recall, is very routine that we have to do at the start of each school year. Basically, schools in Oklahoma need to make one of two choices. They can either declare that they are school days in terms of making sure they meet the minimum number of school days required, or they can ask for a 1080. And for many, many years, we have asked for the 1080 hour requirement, and so that's what I am asking you this evening, is that you approve this so that we can then forward this on to the State Board of Education for approval.
Move for approval.
Second.
Any discussion? Ms. Romerman?
Yes.
Ms. McAdams?
Yes.
Dr. McNeil?
Yes.
Mr. Reyes?
Yes.
The chair votes yes. Consider and take action on the proposed new board policy number 1975, use of multiple occupancy restrooms and changing areas. Dr. Hartzler.
Thank you. This is new board policy that is obviously now law that we have to have in place. As you recall, normally when we propose a new board policy, it goes before the board as a first reading, and then we put it out to the public for about 30 days for them to weigh in on that policy before I come back and then ask for your final approval on that. Because this is now a statute and it is now law that was passed in this last legislative session, I see no reason for us to view this evening as a first reading. As a matter of fact, it needs to be in place before we start school next Wednesday. As you recall, this stems from Senate Bill 615 that was passed, and what it requires more or less for schools is requires restrooms and changing rooms in all of Oklahoma public schools to be designated exclusively based on biological sex. In addition to that, the law states that the school boards of education must adopt a policy to provide disciplinary action if for some reason a student refuses to comply with this board policy. And with board policy 1975, you will notice that we did, based on the recommendation from our council, include that in this policy. And it will be, in terms of the discipline, it will be governed under a board policy we have in the district that deals with student behavior called 50/50. In terms of what that discipline might be, that certainly is left up to the administrator and as well as to the parents of that students and how we would work through that. So be happy to answer any question. Again, the language that is before you this evening comes to us from our council, and this will be, I would posit probably to be very common language that you would see throughout most of the schools in this area that are represented by Rosenstein, Fitzt, and Ringel. Be happy to answer any questions that you might have in regard to this new board policy.
Yes, so as I recall, the law was passed, said here is the law, and by law you will have a policy that says you will uphold the law. And if you don't have a policy that says you will uphold the law, it will cost you 5% of your state funding, state aid.
State aid,
Yeah.
that is correct.
Yeah. So we're obviously, or at least speaking for myself, going to pass the law-imposed board policy, which is interesting unto itself, right? I do have a question, though. Got a 3-year-old granddaughter. Take her to a basketball game, take her to a football game. She's not going to go to the restroom by herself. I'm not going to take her into the men's. Will we no longer have any other option? And I'm asking that, by law, do we have options, or is every facility deemed male or female? No family or otherwise?
Well, we certainly must have restrooms that are designated, right, either male or female. But we also, for many years, we have had restrooms that we would consider to be unisex
Yes.
restrooms. And I know, speaking to your specific question, like at the UMAC, Mr. Bushyhead, I'm not aware of.
I have to check on the UMAC and kind of looking at Josh.
And-
We have some family
yeah.
restrooms at this.
Well, really, my question is one of legal,
Yeah.
not reasonable,
Yeah.
but legal. Are we allowed to have those?
Yes.
Okay, so that is not taken away, but
I do
in
not
this.
believe that. In fact, when we were working with the city of Tulsa on coding,
Okay.
we were specifically made to put signs that
Yeah.
made them
Okay.
multi-sex.
Well, and I'm certainly not going to put you in detention if you violate that as the board president.
Well-
But I think you bring up a very good question
Yeah.
to certainly ask. So,
I mean, the law really only governs employees and students. It doesn't say anything about patrons.
I thought it did, and I could be wrong.
Well, the board policy
Yeah.
does not, for
Yeah.
sure. It only
It-
addresses students and employees
All right.
from that standpoint. And it does say in here, that the district will provide reasonable accommodation by providing access to single occupancy restrooms or changing rooms.
Good,
So,
okay.
You know, I will also make this statement as well, as we've always done in our district, or we've tried to do, is in working with our students, we will treat every student in this district with dignity and with respect. And I will leave it at that. But at the same time, we have a law that we must abide by, and that is why the board policy is being proposed. But I trust all of our administrators to handle these situations, again, with dignity and with respect. That is kind of our position, and that's what we stand for.
Very good.
Definitely, kind of in this sense, I got a chance to meet and speak with a lot of the students who fall into a unique demographic. And from looking at our mission as 100% career and college ready, in addition to what barriers stand in those ways, grace is so powerful in this instance, because while we might see it as something that is, okay, like just use the bathroom, get to class, it's very damning. It's very detrimental if it's a stigma that you carry. And so just being graceful and being cognizant of that as well, for all of us, even in the sense of things that we might not think about. I used the wrong pronoun in the wrong instance, and kid felt like, I can't even talk to you now. So for me to be able to step back and let me think about it, okay, how do you feel in this situation? If I can maximize your performance just by being graceful, once again, you're able to do the things in the classroom you need to be successful, which everybody wins. So so important to think of this not only as a law, but as individual students as well that need us to come together.
Well, I feel confident you can follow the law and be graceful at the same time.
100%.
Well said. Any other,
For approval.
Second.
any other comments, questions, discussion? Ms. McAdams?
Yes.
Ms. Romerman?
Yes.
Mr. Reyes?
Yes.
Dr. McNeil?
Yes.
Chair votes yes.
All right, thank you.
All right. Consider and take action on the recommended updated safe return and continuity of services plan for the 2022-2023 school year.
Yes, Mr.
Bushido.
Kinnear, Dr. Hartzler, Board, as we've stated all along, this is a working document, so it's changing. We are required to bring this before you. We do have some changes in this document from the last time. Obviously, the dates. There was some confusion on parents being able to walk their kids to class, and so we've removed the note on that they would not be able to, because we have started allowing them to do that. Also, the elementary cohorting is not something that we are following right now. And so we've tried to keep most of the items in there as recommendations, but there were a few of these things that were confusing. And so we went ahead and pulled those, and if situation deems necessary, we'll bring it back with changes in the future, but asking that you approve the current plan.
I just being able to be a part of the evolution of this document and reading through it, I just commend once again everyone who played such a major role in drafting it, because it creates dialogue, and that's what we want. And that dialogue keeps people safe. It keeps people involved in the process of why we do what we do. So I appreciate that.
Well, I appreciate Mr. Payne and his team of keeping us in line with some of the wording, because it is difficult to keep all of it in front of you.
Yeah, I parse words, go over them pretty closely, and I've really respected and appreciated the choice of the language in this.
Move for approval.
Second.
Dr. McNeil?
Yes.
Mr. Reyes?
Yes.
Ms. Romerman?
Yes.
Ms. McAdams?
Yes.
Chair votes yes.
Thank you.
Consider and take action on the memorandum of understanding with Tulsa Community College, TCC, for concurrent education programs that TCC offers Union High School students in the amount of $186,000 from bond and general funds, and authorize Dr. Robinson to electronically execute the agreements.
Good evening, President Kinnear, Dr. Hartzler, and board members. Tonight, I am requesting approval of the Memorandums of Understanding with Tulsa Community College. These agreements are for the Edge Early College High School program as well as our dual credit programs. We are entering our 6th year of the Edge Early College High School program. The first 5 years of Edge were a pilot program that was approved by the state regions. At this time, all pilot programs have ended, and the state regents have now adopted an accepted policy for early college programs. So last spring in 2022, our partner TCC applied to the state regents to continue their early college program, and they were granted a 5-year provision to continue with the program. So we will continue partnering with them. Union's program will continue to focus on first-generation, under-resourced, underrepresented populations. The most significant difference that you're going to note from the pilot program is the cost increase for coursework, as TCC has moved from, in the pilot program, they charged per TCC course, and now they are charging per TCC credit hour. So I'll be happy to answer questions that you have.
Want to commend you for all of your hard work amongst you and your colleagues. Got to see some of the fruits of your labor and hang out with Brian Flores this summer in the ER. And also got to talk with the superintendent at KIPP and just kind of see like them starting their pilot this year. So once again, we just continue to lead the way and do innovative things, and can't thank you
We will
enough.
have Tulsa McLean and Memorial started programs last year, so this will be their first year for students to take TCC coursework. And then this year, KIPP and Sand Springs are bringing on the first year of their freshman program. So it has been nice. We've kind of started a little consortium. So we've had a lot of team meetings and working. It's nice to have some other people to talk with and have to bounce ideas off of. Thank you.
If I could, Mr. Kinnear,
Sure.
just to make a public statement about that so it's on record. This is one of those, I think, model programs that we were so fortunate to partner early on with TCC with in order to kind of really flesh out all the issues that certainly comes with a program like this when you try to blur the lines between higher education and common education. But now I've been been serving on a Senate Interim Study Committee at the legislature that's looking at concurrent enrollment. And the idea is that we would take this model, start to expand it not only within the Tulsa area, but as a state. This is one of these programs that truly, I think, could be a game changer and a difference maker for all students in the state of Oklahoma. So again, appreciate the opportunity that the board allowed us to partner with TCC and working through this to see if this would really truly come to fruition, and it has. And now we've just got to work to make it a statewide program, much like other states around the Midwest has. It is a game changer, and it will be a difference maker for all students. So we're going to have to work on funding as well, because there's going to have to be a dedicated revenue stream at the state level, most likely for schools to want to adopt this, and then ultimately for the state to approve this and maybe statute to where it would be a required opportunity for all students. So.
Questions, discussion, comments?
Move for approval.
Second.
Mr. Omerman?
Yes.
Mr. Reyes?
Yes.
Dr. McNeil?
Yes.
Ms. McAdams?
Yes.
Chair votes yes.
Thank you.
Consider and take action on the expenditure of up to $1,030,307.24 from the general funds to purchase textbooks and software for the 2022-2023 school year. Ms. Cowell.
Yes. Good evening, Mr. Kinnear, Dr. Hartzler, board members. I am requesting your approval to spend $1,030,307.24 for textbooks, supplemental curriculum, and software. The $1 million represents $93,351 carryover from last year. And this year's allocation, which we just received the 1st of July, is $936,956.24. And upon your approval, Karen Howard has our queues ready to go.
You'll be able to get those in a week?
No, we won't be able to get those in a week, but we couldn't spend the money until we actually had this approval. And the funds seem a little bit later this year, probably a week or two later than what we normally receive information on.
Comments, questions?
Move for approval.
Second.
Ms. McAdams?
Yes.
Mr. Reyes?
Yes.
Dr. McNeil?
Yes.
Mr. Omerman?
Yes.
The chair votes yes.
Thank you.
Consider and take action on the purchase of professional development and job-embedded in-person coaching with Corwin in the total amount of $182,276.55 from Title II funds.
Hi, good
Ms.
evening,
White.
President Kinnear, Dr. Hartzler, members of the board. Yes, we are asking for your approval with an agreement with Corwin in the amount of $182,276.55 to support during the 22-23 school year 8 of our sites, 5 of them being elementary, 3 of them secondary. We have Anderson Elementary, Cedar Ridge Elementary, Clark Elementary, Jarman Elementary, Peters Elementary, Union 6th, 7th grade center, the Union Freshman Academy, and Union High School, where we are asking Corwin consultants to come into our buildings and lead workshops on what is called teacher clarity, as well as coach into classrooms and pulling the teachers for collaboration and coaching either one-on-one or in small groups of teams. So if I can give you a little bit of background of what teacher clarity is, it's definitely not one more thing. It's already what our teachers are doing. We have been working on lesson design as a district, both at the elementary and secondary level for several years now, especially now that we have really robust and good state standards from our State Department. What this does is it helps elevate this work to the next level. So taking a very large overarching, if you will, Oklahoma academic standard that's pretty broad, and then pairing it with our curriculum and our content resources that we have can be really overwhelming for our teachers, right? So I like to say sometimes we either overteach or we underteach because we don't exactly know what to teach. So this creates a pathway for us to really break down those standards and create learning intentions in a student-friendly voice. Where we create success criterias, and we're able, with the student's assistance, and that's the beauty of this, it really puts the learning at the student, the center child in the classroom. They get to help develop what we call success criteria. So those are the measurements in which we are able to tap into and mark how successful we are during different segments of an Oklahoma academic standard. Are we reaching mastery or not? It's an opportunities for students to have a shared view of quality work. That's probably the best way to describe it. So our principals, elementary and secondary, have all been trained on this. They are on fire with this. And even though I just named 8 sites, we did say whoever is willing and ready to take this journey, we will help pay for a consultant. I want to make it very clear that all of our elementary and secondary sites are supporting and doing this work, but these are the 8 sites this year that will take advantage of the actual consultants in the building. Do you guys have any questions for me? This also, so it pays for consultants, but also for the materials for training the teachers.
Have the teachers had generalized feedback of the experience?
Yes, okay, so our curriculum team has done an excellent job, our instructional coaches, on training teachers on, like I said, the lesson designs and some of those basic foundations for this. Corwin, this company itself, because we already have a partnership with them and we've gone to bid with them in the past, they've actually trained approximately 120 teachers in our district. So Mr. McNeil, to answer your question, I love how there's a new teacher at the 6th, 7th grade center, and she came to me. She's got 25 years of teaching experience, and said to me within the first 2 hours of this 2-day workshop, said, every single teacher needs this. I've been in education for 25 years, and I've never received this level of professional development. Teachers love this because it's not asking them to do one more thing. It's bringing clarity and creating an opportunity for them to do exactly what they need to do and to empower the student and bring it to the student's hands. So no, we've gotten excellent feedback from this. That's just one example.
Awesome. Thank you.
I read through the descriptions of it, and I was very pleased to find the description in there. And so it seems like something that would be very encouraging and well received. Comments, questions?
Move for approval.
Second.
Mr. Reyes?
Yes.
Dr. McNeil?
Yes.
Ms. Romerman?
Yes.
Ms. McAdams?
Yes.
Chair votes yes.
Thank you.
Consider and take action on a practicum program agreement with Oklahoma State University, OSU, to serve as a practicum site for graduate research associates and graduate research assistants in the total amount of $132,484 from federal ESSER III funds.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, President Kinnear, Dr. Hartzler, and members of the board. I am recommending that you approve the MOU with Oklahoma State University School Psychology Program. With your approval, this partnership will allow Union to continue to serve as a practicum site for graduate students in the field of school psychology. There are only 3 universities in Oklahoma that offer an accredited program for school psychology, and due to the limited number of available programs, the rigorous course offerings, and the strenuous PhD track that many of our students are on, the number of graduates within these programs are historically less than 10 students per year. So this partnership will allow 7 OSU grad students, many of them who are on the PhD track, the opportunity to experience a high-quality public school setting that utilizes the systems of multi-tiered systems of support, with an estimated partnership to serve between 400 and 500 students across Union. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
I think I said this last time, that I think this is a great idea. I love programs like this where we bring students in and they can see what Union is and see how different we are from a lot of schools, and try to, it's the same sort of concept to me as our growing from within for all of our administrators, that, you know, they're learning what to do under our culture and hopefully come back. So I love this.
And I'm pretty confident we will have 1 or 2 of the students who will likely become full-time school psychologists for the next school year, that are not on the PhD track but are on the EDS track, who will not be leaving the state to do their clinical rotation, but are able to graduate and stay in. And I will say that this partnership has made it, I'm pretty confident that they're going to want to stay at Union.
That's great.
Awesome.
That's great.
I noticed that it's ESSER funds. Does that mean going forward we won't be able to continue doing this?
Well, we work with really smart people in our finance department and our federal programs department, and I am really confident that we are going to brainstorm together and find options to find funding sources for this beyond.
Move for approval.
Second.
Ms. Romerman,
Yes.
Ms. McAdams,
Yes.
Mr. Reyes,
Yes.
Dr. McNeil.
Yes.
Chair votes yes.
Thank you.
Consider and take action on the 1-year renewal of the Imagine Learning software subscriptions for EL students at all elementary sites, and the 6th, 7th grade in the amount of $194,337.11 from federal ESSER funds. Dr. Nelson.
President Kinnear, Dr. Hartzler, and board members, this is a renewal of software we've been using for about 10 years to help accelerate particularly the early learning of our ELs and their language progress. But we use it now for all of our EL students through the 6th and 7th grade center. At 6th and 7th grade, we use it with newcomers, and then all elementary EL students. In fact, it's pretty good literacy software. Sometimes we use it with native English speakers to develop some of their literacy skills. We've done some study on the use of this with our own students. It's particularly helpful in the early years of language learning, but it still is adequate and effective even as they're approaching fluency. The instructional time is kind of matches classroom time in terms of progress at the later stages, and in the earlier stages it's shown to accelerate the use of that time. Students are on it from 20 to 25 minutes a day, 4 or 5 days a week. So it's a supplemental piece that we've been using, and we've historically been using bond funds. We have an opportunity to use ESSER funds with this purchase for that. So I recommend that you approve this purchase.
Move for approval.
Second.
Ms. McAdams.
Yes.
Dr. McNeil.
Yes.
Ms. Romerman.
Yes.
Mr. Reyes.
Yes.
Chair votes yes.
Thank you.
Consider and take action on the purchase of math learning curriculum for K through 5 students from the Math Learning Center in the total amount of $116,805.48 from ARP ESSER 3 funds.
Yes, and again, on this purchase, I recommend that we make this purchase. These are supplemental elementary math learning materials used for intervention processes with students. Over the past year, we piloted these products on a limited basis, a few kits at each school to let the teachers try them out and see what level of interest and implementation that we might have. They were research-based materials that we felt through the examination of the materials that had the strongest potential for our students. Our teachers in general very, very much liked them, thought they were effective, and so site by site, we've made appropriate amounts of purchases according to what the grade level teams at each school expect to implement through this year. So that's what this purchase represents, a follow through on where we started last year. So.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Any questions, comments? Mr. Reyes,
Yes.
Ms. Romerman,
Yes.
Ms. McAdams,
Yes.
Dr. McNeil.
Yes.
Chair votes yes.
Thank you.
Under Personnel, consider and take action to name the Executive Director of Secondary Education, Mr. Logring.
President Kinnear, members of the board, it is my honor to make the recommendation for Dr. Kenneth Moore. Kenneth, if you would please stand. We get to talk about you. Dr. Moore joined Union in 2015. He's served as an assistant principal at the 6th, 7th grade, as well as the Freshman Academy. In 2018, he became the principal at the Freshman Academy. He earned his bachelor's degree in economics, as well as his master's in educational leadership, and just recently completed his doctorate just this year with some help from a couple other wonderful doctors right here in this room. So it's my recommendation to name Dr. Kenneth Moore as the new Executive Director of Secondary Education.
Move for approval.
Second.
Dr. McNeil.
Yes.
Ms. McAdams.
Yes.
Ms. Romerman.
Yes.
Mr. Reyes.
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Apologies there, as I almost forgot we do need a motion. So thank you for doing that. Consider and take action to name the principal of Union High School Freshman Academy.
Thank you, President Kinnear. It is once again my honor to make the recommendation to name Mr. Kevin Bo Brannon as the principal of the Freshman Academy. Oh, you get to stand also, Bo. Mr. Brannon joined us back in 2018 as the assistant principal at the Freshman Academy. He has a bachelor's degree in middle child education, as well as his master's in educational leadership. And we've enjoyed his work here at the Freshman Academy and look forward to many years of his work with the children at the Freshman Academy and see where that takes him. So it's our recommendation for Mr. Bo Brannon to be named the principal at the Freshman Academy.
Move for approval.
Second.
Mr. Reyes.
Yes.
Ms. Romerman.
Yes.
Ms. McAdams.
Yes.
Dr. McNeil.
Yes.
The chair votes yes. Under school operations, consider and take action on a request to raise adult meal prices for the 2022-2023 school year.
Yes, President Kinnear, Board, Dr. Hartzler, this is our annual notification. We finally received it last week. We are required by the federal guidelines to increase our adult meal prices to cover the cost. They have calculated the cost to be $2.30 for breakfast and $4.85 for lunch. This is a significant increase. Really, it has been over the last 4 years, but we don't really have an option, so we have to increase the prices. So I ask that you approve this.
Yeah, just one question, and it's somewhat related, but a little different. Free and reduced, somebody asked me, do we still have the ability to offer free lunches to certain students, and I thought we did, but there has
Yes.
not been a change in that law.
No, this is dealing with the staff. is
Yeah.
what this-
Yeah, this is all adult
Right,
meals.
yep, very good.
Move for approval.
Second.
Ms. McAdams?
Yes.
Dr. McNeil?
Yes.
Mr. Reyes?
Yes.
Ms. Romerman?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes as well.
Thank you.
Consider and take action on an agreement with Henderson Engineers for the Peters Elementary HVAC replacement project in the amount of $206,200 from bond funds. Mr. Robinson?
President Kinnear, Dr. Hartzler, members of the board, I'm not Fred Isaacs. I'm
Yes.
Josh Robinson. He was indisposed this evening, so thank you for letting me present. We recommend that you approve an agreement with Henderson Engineers to provide design services for a new HVAC system for Peters Elementary. This design work provides all the construction documents so that we can get this project out to bid, hopefully this spring, early this spring, as early as February, hopefully. We need to get this on the street as quickly as possible because of the lead times with HVAC systems. Some of these pieces of equipment can take up to 36 weeks to get ordered and get into us. Plus, it's a very complicated project. This is similar to what we're doing at Jarman currently, what we've done at Darnaby. It's replacing our 1980 two-pipe boiler chiller system with a more modern variable refrigerant flow system, and we ask for your approval.
How many schools do we still have to upgrade after this?
Clark and Anderson will be the two remaining two-pipe chiller systems. Unfortunately, Anderson was due to get one sooner than all of these. However, the chiller died, and so we had to move quickly to replace the chiller. So we're kind of locked in at Anderson for a little while. But they got all new unit ventilator systems. So Clark would be the last remaining, and then I also believe McAuliffe as well.
Move for approval.
Second.
Any questions, comments? Mr. Reyes?
Yes.
Dr. McNeil?
Yes.
Ms. Romerman?
Yes.
Ms. McAdams?
Yes.
Chair votes yes.
Thank you.
Any new business? Opportunity for comments from the audience and board members. Anyone signed up for non-agenda items? Board members?
Good luck to everybody next week.
I know.
We're ready. Dr. Harshaw, I'll turn it over to you in just a moment, but I do want to take an opportunity to once again recognize and honor our financial reporting group, not the least of which is led by Dr. Williams. So the entire group, for the 30th year in a row, Finance Division for Union Public Schools has received Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. And having been in that field for myself, I know the work involved in order to uphold that standard. So my congratulations and appreciation to all of you for that. Dr. Hartzler, any other comments?
Well, just to say, absolutely, again, congratulations on that consecutive award. That truly is amazing. It was I think it was a little delayed because normally I get this in July, and I just got it last week. I'm like, wait a second, where's this award at? So you pulled through. Good for you. We had a great week last week in basically going through a new teacher induction. I think right around 160 new teachers in addition to the teachers that did not get to go through it last year because they were hired late. So Dr. Nelson, Chastity, and the curriculum specialist did a phenomenal job with those teachers for 5 days. I had the opportunity to kick off Monday with them, or Tuesday, I've lost track of days, and then close out the session on Friday afternoon. But very honored that these new employees chose Union Public Schools. As you all know, right now in the state of Oklahoma, we have a very, very serious and acute teacher shortage. And so I think we we said to them, we're honored that you chose Union Public Schools to make this your professional home. So we're excited about this year. I think we're getting closer to normalcy each and every day. We just need these kiddos to keep coming in, and we're ready to welcome them all and for all of them to have an outstanding year. I will tell you, last week I received notification from one of the high school I think administrators, maybe Mr. Buck, who had indicated to me, or through the Aspire program maybe, that we had a 2017 graduate that completed, I think that completed his requirements to graduate. And I think that speaks volumes to our mission of 100% graduation, college and career ready, and the fact that we truly do not give up on kids. And I jokingly said this last week. I said, we will never give up on them, and we refuse to do that. And we will continue to harass them in this area for sure until they finally, maybe say, okay, enough's enough. I got other plans or whatever. But it just warms my heart whenever I hear about someone fulfilling those requirements. And again, for some, it's not always easy. We know that, but for 2017, I think that's incredible. That's 5 years now removed, and so good job to the Aspire staff and to the administrators. I know you all are continuing to work in this area because sometimes I run into these kiddos from time to time in certain businesses throughout the Union District, and it's always interesting when someone lets them know who I am, and before I even say, what year did you graduate, sometimes they'll say, oh, no, Mr. Tempest called me last week and said I didn't graduate and I need to get back up there to get my requirements. So thank you all for doing that. Truly, we're saving lives when we never give up on kids in this area, and I'm very proud to be a part of this organization that does this type of work. So thank you.
All right, a little bit more work to do here in the executive session. I'll entertain a motion and vote pursuant to Oklahoma Statute Title 25, Sections 307B7 and 307B1 to go into executive session to discuss the appeals of 2 denied student transfers with a review of confidential educational records and transfer request of students whereby disclosure of any additional information could potentially violate FERPA and contract renewals for the superintendent and the chief financial officer.
Move to approve.
Second.
Dr. McNeil?
Yes.
Ms. McAdams?
Yes.
Ms. Romelman?
Yes.
Mr. Reyes?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. We're now in executive session.